In this video, we're going to look at answering the questions for an opportunity that we recently put into Occulus. We actually transferred it over from Salesforce. So we'll go into Salesforce first and then answer the questions for the opportunity. But before we do, just quick few words about how the Occulus question form is set up. The format is a question with multiple choice answers. Most of the answers is 3, yes, no, or uncertain. You'll see that the questions are grouped into 6 categories. Each category deals with a specific aspect of the sale. The first category is opportunity description. And in this category, we're asking the question, is the opportunity real? Is a well-defined, compelling event, budget, time frames, etc. The second category looks at what our solution is, our proposed solution, which answers the question, can we compete? Meaning, do we have a viable solution that we can compete with? Not necessarily that we can win, because that's answered later, because we have to beat the competition, but at least we can compete and have a realistic expectation that if we do things right, we could win. The third category is decision process. And in this, what Occulus is asking is, how does this customer buy things like this? You know, we're selling industrial products. What's the process involved? The decision process, the approval process involved for products like we're selling. The fourth category is relationship, which seeks to answer the question, do we know the right people in the decision process that are involved in this purchase? The fifth category is competition, which answers the question, how do we stand against the competition and what do we have to do to win? And then the sixth category deals with the timing, and it really is to answer the question, is the timing realistic? So there are 2 types of questions in Occulus. The majority are what we refer to as absolute questions, where the choices of our answer are very, very, minimal. Yes, no, or you don't know. And for these types of questions, don't guess. If you're not certain, just answer uncertain. The other type of question is the relative question. And in these types of questions, Occulus is looking for you to use your best estimate, your judgment, your sales radar, your sales skills. What do you think type thing? And they are relative, high, medium, low, and uncertain. Now, an uncertain answer is an important answer. What we find is a lot of people don't like to answer a question uncertain because for any number of reasons, probably the greatest reason is they don't want their sales manager to see it and have them think that there's a lot about a deal that they're working on that they don't know. And that's absolutely not correct. In an early stage deal, which is what we're going to do today, there will be an awful lot of information that you don't know and uncertain. So it's a perfectly valid answer. Don't be afraid to use it. And Occulus will keep track of when you've answered uncertain, and in the analysis it will just print out a list of data that simply says you need to get this information. Very straightforward, very simple, and it stops things from falling through the cracks. We're also going to look at, in the comments section, which is shown how to use the comments in another video, we're going to look at the 4 primary must-comment questions. There are 11 in total, but we're just going to do the first 4 today. And that, again, this is an early stage opportunity, so we want to start somewhere, and this is where we start. So the first one is in opportunity description, and it deals with the compelling event. The second one, also in opportunity description, it has the prospect to determine a vendor selection date for the project. Now, the vendor selection date may or may not be your close date. Your close date is the date that the company you work for accepts the order. Many companies have an order processing function where they will take the order from the customer, whether it's in a letter or a PO or whatever written document, and will process it. Maybe it has to go through legal, but there could be a significant amount of time from the point when the prospect gives you a piece of paper when your company can actually put it on the books. So understand what that gap is for your company and make sure you build it into the close date. So it's the vendor selection date, different from your close date. The third question we're going to look at is the value proposition. Does your value proposition map into the compelling event that's driving the project? Well, quite frankly, because if it doesn't, you should probably get out. And the sixth one, how would you rate the negative impact on the prospect's business if this project was delayed or canceled? So what we're looking at here is what is their drive to continue with this project. Because if there's no negative impact of them not doing anything, the question has to be asked, why should they do anything? So those are the four primary must-comment questions that we're going to look at, and we'll look at them in greater detail as we go through the questions. So the opportunity that we're going to be examining here today is the one, transfer is the name of it. It's an early stage opportunity. So because it's early stage, the expectation is that there will be a lot of information that we don't know. So we should see a lot of uncertain answers. And just to clarify, all questions must be answered before you can run the analysis. So here we are, and I've actually set up the CRM. I'm in my CRM, and I'm just going to go to Occulus. Now, I'm not going to use this one here and be inside the iframe. I'm going to go into it on a different tab. So we're in Occulus now, and you'll notice, where's my opportunity? Remember that Occulus is close date centric. So the opportunities that are displayed here are ones that are scheduled or forecast to close in this quarter. And I don't have any forecast to close in this quarter. If I remember correctly, this is closing on May 15th. So let's go to, that's next quarter. So let's go to next quarter. And there it is. So we'll open it. And we're going to update the questions. So if you look at, there's all the information and the updated information that was transferred over from the CRM, in this case, Salesforce. So let us get going here. So question one, do you know the compelling event that is driving this project? My answer is yes, but this is a must-comment question. So we do want to make a comment here, and this is not a real opportunity. So I'm just going to put in the compelling event is something, and you'll notice I like to use short forms. So do you know, or do I know what problem the prospect is trying to solve? Yeah, I do. Do I know who's responsible for it? I'm not sure at this point in time, okay? So I'll leave that, I think it might be my primary contact, but I'm not sure. Is this project part of or linked to any other projects currently underway in the prospects or organization? I don't know yet. I don't know. Is it funded? I think it is, but I haven't asked that question. I hope it is. And because I haven't asked my contact the question, I have to answer uncertain. And here we are at number 6. This is this is must comment question number 2, and they have given me a date. So I'm going to put this in MCQ-2, and yes, they my close date. Okay, so wait a minute. Their vendor selection date is May 1st, okay? And my close date is May 15th. That gives 15 days for a little slippage or whatever. So I just want to give myself a little bit of wiggle room here, because I don't want my boss, leaning on me, asking me where the order is. So what is the priority of this project? Again, this is, it's, I would say at this point in time, I can't even say, I'm not sure, okay? Has a statement of requirements been created? No, it's not available yet, but they're working on it. So to what degree has the prospect defined the requirements? I know what it's supposed to do, so I would say it's very high. And I know what the objective of what they're trying to do is, so I would say that's very high. The next one is, do I know the critical success factors and who's measuring them? No. Has the prospect identified this project as being strategic to their business? I haven't asked that, but it's a good question to ask. And the reason is that strategic initiatives within a company are the ones that get funded. If it's not strategic, this always gets into the secondary priority list. Has the prospect tried other solutions to this project, this problem? I don't know. I really don't know that one. So here we are on the proposed solution, and you'll notice that in question 1, we have an NA, because they haven't issued a statement of requirements yet, and I answered no to that. But they have told me what they're looking for, and I believe that we have that what we have in terms of the solution that we can offer is a very, very high quality fit for their ideal solution. Does my price? I don't know yet. Do I know the business value to the prospect of solving the problem? Yes, absolutely I do. What is their return on investment with my solution? I don't know that. Can we deliver the solution in the time frames required? Yeah, there's no issues on that kind of stuff. Number 7, are there any specific reasons why the prospect would not accept your solution? And that's a tricky question, because what does that mean? There's always reasons why a prospect doesn't choose your solution. You didn't win is obviously the most obvious. But there may be other reasons. Maybe they're standardized on a particular platform, a particular way of doing things. And you'll notice that from your experience, a lot of companies, their requirement is that they get at least two proposals or 3 proposals for any major project, even though they may be predisposed to one solution or the other. And you need to find that out. Otherwise, you're wasting a lot of time. So if you, in terms of the evaluation, if you believe you've won the deal, you have to say, is there any reason why you wouldn't give me this order? So I don't know, and I haven't asked that question yet, but I will. So do I know where in the prospect's organization, the groups, that the impact of your solution will be felt? Yeah, I do. Do I know specifically who will be using it, the end user? No, I don't know that. I have to get that information. Can the impact of solving the problem, the prospect's problem, be measured? Absolutely it can. Will it have a positive impact on their financial position? I don't know. I'll have to check that one too. Will it have a positive impact on their solutions? Yeah. On their operation? It certainly will. We haven't submitted a proposal, and we haven't yet done a demo, but we're moving in that direction. So now we're going over to the decision process. And here, the first question is, again, this is, how does this client or this prospect buy stuff that I'm selling? So the first thing we need to know, that Occulus is asking, do I have an updated organization chart? Now, this is not a corporate organization chart. This is just the organization chart associated with this project. And the answer is I don't at this time, but I do have to get one. So to what degree do I understand the decision process for this project? At this point in time, I know my contact and her boss, but that's about it. So number 3, what level of support does this project have amongst the management team? I have no idea. I haven't navigated my way through the organization, so I really don't have any idea. Do I know the individuals involved in the decision process? No, I don't. Have I met the final decision maker? Not yet. Have I met all the other key individuals in the decision process? No. Number 7, do I know how these individuals are measured? Now, this is an interesting question too, because if you think about it, every company measures their employees with a certain set of criteria, some standardized criteria. So if I'm working on a project that is going to impact one particular group, whoever's in charge of that group will have some say, or should have some say, in this project. So I need to know how that person's measured, so that when I talk to them, I know that's what's of value to them, and I know what the kind of benefits that they're looking for. So, if I'm talking to the CEO of a company, I want to talk about, profitability, share price, public image, such things as, user friendliness. Really, there's a passing interest, but it's really not what drives his or her thinking. And by the same token, if I'm talking to the end user, and I talk about how my solution is going to improve overall profitability of the company, the end user doesn't care. The end user is interested in how easy is your solution to use, and do I get excellent support? So no, I don't know that. Number 8, who's driving this project? I believe it's my contact, okay? But I need to confirm it. I'm just going to make a note to this myself so I remember. Confirm if Linda W. is driving this. I'll just make a note of it so I don't forget that. Is there a formal written evaluation criteria that will be used to determine the winning vendor? Not that I know of. My guess is that they will create one, but I don't know at this time. Do I know what the informal evaluation criteria is? Yeah, I do. I do indeed. So number 11, is there any individual in the prospect's organization who is proactively supporting your proposal? And I'm going to answer this yes, and the person it's Linda. So I'm going to answer this. And the next question is, number 12, do I know why Linda is advocating for my solution? I don't actually, but I need to know. It's not good enough that Linda likes me or whatever. There has to be a sound and solid business reason why Linda will support my solution over somebody else's. So I have to determine that. Number 13, an important question. Is there any individual who will be key in this project? That's a key influencer. Okay, now the key influencer can be an employee of the prospect or can be an external consultant. In a lot of products that companies buy are very, very complex, and they will bring in an outside consultant. So if you think of companies like the Gardner Group, Forrester, one side of their business is research, and they publish it. But where they generate their revenue is acting as external experts, and they get involved in decisions on which products to buy, and they are the key influencer. So in dealing with your prospects, when you're looking for a key influencer, look for both an internal key influencer and an external. Find out if they've engaged an external consultant. I'm going to put an uncertain there, and I'm going to put a note here. Determine if they have hired a consultant to assist. And that'll make sure I don't forget this. So we're now on to relationship, and as mentioned, we're early stage here. So first question is, to what degree do I know their business? I've done quite a bit of background research, and I know it all. Not at all, but I know quite a bit. To what degree do they know us? Well, not very much. I'm going to say low because I haven't talked to the decision makers. I don't know if they know us. So I'm going to, now, maybe I shouldn't assume, and I should put in uncertain, but I'm going to assume low at this point in time. And then I've got an action item to do something. Have I ever done business, or my company ever done business with them before? Not that I'm aware of. And you'll notice that if I'd answered yes here, was the project successful? This is an important thing, because if I had answered no, then I need to get out in front of this when dealing with Linda and the other people in the prospect, because one thing's for sure, my competition is going to reference it. Overall, how would I rate the quality of my relationship with the prospect? Well, I've only met Linda, and I think I might have passed by her boss, so I'm going to say it's good. But I'm very, very at low level in the organization. But what I've done so far, I think is good. I've never worked with any of these people before. How would I rate my level of support among the key people in the decision process? I have no idea. And how would I describe my relationship with them? I haven't met them, so I have no idea. And what would be my ability to influence these people? I have no idea. So does the key influencer support my proposal? Well, I'm not sure if there isn't an internal and external person. So for this, I'm just going to answer uncertain at this point in time and go back to the point of, is there an So I'll determine that and find out if really if Linda is the right person. I've not met the end users yet, so I don't know what their level of support is for us. The next question, do I have any other contacts in this organization? I do actually, which was lucky, and so I need to get in touch with them. Can this contact help me with this project? You know what? In a completely different department, I'm reluctant to say no because I really haven't asked. His name is Steve, by the way. I really haven't asked Steve if he knows about this project. So I'm going to say uncertain. I'm going to make Steve Rogers. So he works in finance, so I don't know. I'll have to check that. Do I have any enemies? This is an interesting question. As you know, the word enemy is very negative, but the fact of life, it's appropriate. Linda is, I believe Linda is my internal advocate, and we get into the competition side of things. There may be somebody, you know, our competition who I'm competing with, they may have an internal advocate who's promoting their solution, very similar to what Linda's doing. In that case, their internal advocate would be my enemy. And in the same way that Linda, as my internal advocate, would be their enemy. But I don't know yet, so I need to find that out, and I'll just answer it uncertain. So do we have any leverage that would give us a competitive advantage? And you know, what do we mean by leverage? Well, leverage is just anything that presents myself and the company and our products in a positive view. I don't know at this point in time. I think we've got some great references that we can use, but you know, we're early in the sales cycle. You know, we have a lot of experience and great references. So they may give us a small edge, and certainly we'll find out as I go through the sales cycle. Now, I haven't brought my boss in yet. And number 17, in general, does my prime contact, Linda in this case, return my calls in a timely manner? And the answer to this is yes, but it is an important question because if you're dealing with somebody, and you know, you go back and forth in the normal dialogue, if all of a sudden they're unavailable and they don't return your calls, when historically they have, that's a red flag. Something's fallen off the rails, because the prospect is always talking to somebody, and if they're not talking to me, they're talking to my competition. So, so far so good. Now here's must comment question number 3. I'm just going to make a note here. This is number 3, and this is, does my compelling event, does our solution, the value proposition of our products and solution map into the compelling event? And it does. Yes. Our solution so I'll just continue that. So we go here now. Did I influence the writing of the statement of requirements? Well, it's still under development. I'm going to try to get involved, but it's not been released. So the answer to question 8 in opportunity description about the statement of requirements was no. So Occulus has put a non-applicable answer in these 2 questions. So is there any external competition? There is. Be nice if there isn't. There wasn't, but there is. Do I know who it is? I do, unfortunately. Okay? Or fortunately. Does the external competition have a good relationship with the prospect? I don't know. I'd like to say no, but I'm not sure that I can. I'm not sure that I can say yes either. So I'm going to take this question under advisement. Make a little note to myself. Oops. So, number 7, what's my confidence of beating these guys? I'd say at this point in time, because I'm not sure what the RFP or the Statement of Requirements is going to look like. I know we have a better product. I know we're more cost effective, but it depends on what the Statement of Requirements, if it's in the direction I think it is, then yeah, I can move that to a high next time I update this. But at this point in time, I'm going to leave it as a medium. Is there an incumbent? And the incumbent is, am I trying to displace a current vendor who's currently providing a solution to this problem? No, there is no incumbent, because this is a new project and they haven't really done anything like this before. Number 12 is the third type of competition. This is the internal competition. And the question here is, could they do it themselves? Or is there a group within the organization that can do what we're proposing? And I'm going to say that I don't know that there is, but I don't know that there isn't. Again, I need to find this out. And so if there is, I need to figure out if we can beat them. So it's just completely unknown at this point in time. So I'm going to answer that unknown. So relative to the competition, what's the prospect's level of risk with us? Well, I don't know about the internal people, but I would say that compared to the external competition, we're about the same, but I'm going to have to answer this uncertain. So here, number 15, do the key individuals involved in the decision process agree with the value proposition? I don't know. Haven't met them, so I'll answer that. Do we have a competitive differentiation? Well, certainly we do against the external competition. Against the internal competition, I don't know. Will our proposal be price competitive? Yeah, I happen to know that we're got the best price points in the area. Do I know why they're involved with us? Absolutely. They recognize that we're experts in this particular area, and they want to deal with us. In terms of our competitors, the value proposition of the competitors, do I know them? The external ones I do. For the internal ones, from what I know is that the internal people, are not dissimilar to us, and the only thing they have going for them is that, they're not paying an outside company. So I'm going to say yes, I do know the internal value proposition, and no, they don't have any secret sauce or anything like that that will give them a competitive advantage. So we'll save that. And you notice now we're at the last category, and check marks next to green check marks next to all these, which means the questions have been answered. So we're on the onto the timing. Is it real? Do I know why the prospect is implementing this project now? Oh yeah, I do. Yeah. Have the project timeframes been set? Yes, they have. Do I know if the project's on schedule? That I don't know. Do the decision makers agree with the timing for the project? I assume they do, but I don't know. And number 5, what is the prospect's sense of urgency? It's high. They say they've got to get this done. Now, number 6 is, this is the 4th must comment question. So I'm going to put that there. And the question is, how would you rate the negative impact on the prospect's business if this project was delayed or canceled? Very high. This has to go forward. They will lose. So they will lose market share if this project is canceled or delayed. All right, so here, are there any internal issues that could stop this project? No, I spoke to Linda about that. Are there any external economic issues that could stop this project? That I don't know, but I doubt it. And there are other projects underway within the company, of course, but nothing that's going to get in the way of this. So, before I answer this question, you notice that the View Results button is disabled, okay? Please answer all questions, okay? So when I answer this question, the View Results button is now activated, and I can click the results. Yes, I want to save these changes. And now we go to the results. And Occulus is saying that this opportunity is poorly qualified. I'm just going to shrink this. And my degree of qualification is 0, which is, pretty low. The confidence I could have in winning this deal is 1%. So this shouldn't be a surprise to me, and it isn't. This is what I expect. This is a very, very early stage opportunity, and we're going to go in a follow-on video. We're going to look at this, and we're going to examine it in greater detail. Okay? So at this point in time, we're going to say goodbye, but I would point out that we started answering the questions for this particular opportunity at 2:32, according to this this clock in the bottom right, and we finished at 2:58 or 9. Let's put 9. So it took us 27 minutes to answer the questions. But there was a lot of dialogue and a lot of explanation that was appropriate, that I felt you needed to do. So under normal circumstances, answering the questions in Occulus will take you anywhere from 15 to 20 minutes. In some cases, it'll take you a little less. It's not a long process. Okay? And thank you for your time, and look for the next video, which is interpreting the analysis.